All you got to do is kind of take care of your business the rest of the way. Now, what fascinated me yesterday is, I checked out the bottom of the standings here in the East, and the top 6 are set. Atlanta, Toronto, Washington, Chicago, Cleveland, Milwaukee. Those are going to be your top 6. Your bottom 3 are set in Philly, Orlando, New York. Those games are just god-awful. But the 7 and 8 seed in the East right now, it is completely up for grabs. The field is totally narrowed. You got Charlotte, Miami currently in there. Brooklyn, Detroit, Boston, Indiana, and everybody is within 2.5 games. If the Raptors are in that 2 seed, this race for 7 and 8 is going to be wildly fascinating.
And any loss you have, if you're the 2-7 and you're the Raps, Andrew, if you're the 3-6 and you lose, I don't think we'll leap up and say, "Wow, the Charlotte Hornets were better than we thought." We'll blame the Raptors. This will be how somebody would use the phrase, "This is a you problem." This would be about the Raptors blowing it.
Right.
And maybe they aren't composed the way they should be. Maybe we need to reevaluate. Does this player fit? Should this player be upgraded? Because everybody liked the core enough, even losing 7 games to Brooklyn. And there were no cries. It wasn't a big summer in free agency. There weren't a lot of big cries to say, change this, change that, move this, move that. It was like,
well, Kyle Lowry was the free agent, right?
Yeah, you have to have him. And you bring the coach back. Those were the only 2 issues. You make sure the coach is coming back and make sure that your point guard and leader is coming back. Beyond that, there wasn't a lot of fuss to not touch anything. I guess, there was like a golf clap because Lou Williams was brought here. That's about it as far as off-game.
And James Johnson, yeah.
Yes, that's about it in terms of what you were at. But again, Miami, I still think Miami's going to be tricky. I do think Miami,
personnel-wise, they have the best of this bunch.
I hate the idea of that, but you're pointing at it right now, and you're right. They can miss the damn playoffs so they don't get it together. They need no one. Who'd be a tough matchup for Miami in the playoffs? Well, nobody, because they're missing it. But if they get in, I don't think it's a team Atlanta, Washington, or Toronto the media wanted to go sit on the beach for a day or two, but the Raptors and the team, they don't want Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade and Lou Deng in the first round. They don't.
And here's the tricky one. Right now, would you be just incredibly excited to get the Brooklyn Nets over Miami, Charlotte, Detroit, Boston, Indiana?
Yeah, I don't get this thing where people think the Raptors have some bugaboo against Brooklyn. They're close games, they're competitive games. There just should be too much depth there now. And I thought Jason Kidd did a great job with them. I don't think they have as good a coach now as Lionel Hollis. I think Jason Kidd's done a great job in Milwaukee without Jabari Parker. I think this is going to be a very good NBA coach someday, despite all the jokes.
649, Brady and Walker. Also reported yesterday, Adam Silver thinking of changing the NBA playoff format. It would get rid of the idea that one conference is way better than the other. Would you be game for 1-16?
I think it's a better thing for a fan. I understand if you're in Toronto, over the next decade, you might miss once or twice if 10 teams came from the West. But right now, you're looking at a playoffs potentially without, right now as it stands, you have no Anthony Davis, no Kevin Durant, no Russell Westbrook. You do want your best players in there. You want your best players to make the playoffs, and you're looking at, again, teams like Brooklyn, Detroit, Boston, they should be able to sniff the playoffs. Right now, as it breaks down, you might have a team about 36 and 46 make it in the East. That may be what ends up happening.
Right now, we'd be looking at, I believe, if it was 1-16, like a Toronto-Phoenix first-round series, which would be,
like set it up like the tournament. Have it bracketed so it's 1-16, 8, 9, 5, 12, 4, 13. Do all that. But you want the best teams. I got ideas as to why I think the West will never be as bad as the East again, but we'll leave that for another time.
650, let's do best and worst.
Paul Millsap
And worst.
Paul Mahomes
With Brady and Walker.
It is a best win, worst loss, best player, worst player. From what we were watching on the Tube last night, I'll start off with worst player. Boy, and I guess take your pick when it comes to the New Jersey Devils. We know they're not a good team. We know the Edmonton Oilers are a good team, but the Devils only get 14 shots on goal in their 2-1 loss to Edmonton. So, go down that list. Who do you... Tuomo Ruutu, Arber Yager, who wants to be dealt, Adam Henrique, Martin Havlat, Mike Camilleri. These guys didn't get a sniff of offense last night against Edmonton, and that's not easy to do.
You love hockey. I love hockey. Would you go? If you lived in Newark and you had the disposable income and the time, would you be going to all these games? The Devils especially play that brand of hockey that just I watch their games on TV, the two of the Leafs the last 2 weeks, and there's no life and there's no energy. There's nothing. There's nothing that's drawing me to it.
Am I going to all 82? Probably not. I mean, am I seeing
$100 a seat?
Yes, I know what you're saying.
Oh, man.
I mean, at the best of times, when they were in Stanley Cups, they weren't an overly exciting game to watch.
No, people just love the wins. So last night, the Clippers, second game without Blake Griffin, who now could be out 4 to 6 weeks after surgery for that staph infection in his elbow. He did a successful staph infection surgery. You never hear about the unsuccessful ones. DeAndre Jordan, their center, though, 22 points, 27 rebounds, including 11 on the offensive glass. They beat Dallas 115 to 298. They'll have to get Blake Griffin back by, what are we talking, end of March, early April, for the last couple of weeks before the potential playoff run for the Clips.
Best win, I will give it to the San Antonio Spurs. Listen, they didn't get the job done for Greg Popovich here the other night. They did last night, a comeback win with 2.1 seconds to go against Indiana. So that is win number 1,000, all of the same franchise for Pop. Pretty impressive and a big win this guy's got.
Well, it's not a terrible win, but I think it's a costly one. The Columbus Blue Jackets had the LA Kings at home last night and suffered a 4-3 defeat. It's just not going to happen for them. And for all the good vibes, a fun series with Pittsburgh, a 93-point season. They finished just ahead of Detroit for the 7th seed last year in the East. Jacks are going to miss the playoffs this year, and they might even draft top 5. I'd have to.
They get a pass, though, don't they?
They do. They really do. With all the injuries and
Bobrovsky now, yeah.
No, the Nathan Norton thing's been a tragedy for him and their team and their fan base. And they don't really have an expiring contract that they'd be eager to move off of. There's not a short 1-year deals with guys there. Jordan Leopold's there 1 more season. Mark Letestu, but what can you get for a 33-year-old Jordan Leopold at the trade deadline? I mean, mid-round pick.
Nothing of note. No, nothing of note.
So they're sort of stuck in no man's land, having to hope for another top 5 addition maybe in the draft.
But you're right, they do get a pass, and in the Eastern Conference, and I think maybe, believe it or not, the Eastern Conference, a little better than I think we gave credit for at the beginning of the year. I mean, you look 1 year ago, and you're like, oh, God, the best 6 teams in hockey